Come on, bitch, let's go. Come on, get ready, bitches. You haven't seen nothing yet. Come on.
Valentino, Versace, Lamborghini, Bugatti. I got money to burn. I'm single and I'm naughty.
Come on.
Tiffany's, Cartier, Gucci on Marty.
Come on.
Break out your black card, boys. It's time to party.
Hi, you guys. So, unfortunately, I have some sort of cold with a super bad sore throat. So I'm going to have to make the show a little shorter than normal today. It's going to be pretty centric on reality TV because I'm so sick, and that's easy. But I hope you guys understand it's hard because I don't have anyone to fill in for me when I'm really under the weather. I tried so hard to get better for the show today, but it isn't happening, sadly. So what I thought we would start off the show with today is all of the media tours that Lisa Vanderpump is taking and the tea she's spilling about Kyle Richards. And I thought I might talk a little bit about this because, as you guys know, I was around them when they were still friends, and good friends at that. And I think I have a little insight into the situation. Some of this I've said before, some of it I haven't. So I want to share that with you today. So here's the clips that kind of inspired me in doing this episode, and you're going to hear me address them as we go through the show. So I thought I would start here for you guys.
You used to be close with PK. What was your reaction to his news about the split with Dorit?
Well, I actually knew that they'd kind of pretty much separated. I don't think they were being that honest on the show because we have mutual friends.
Right.
I think he was living in a hotel and they were, not the treat, anything fake about her. I mean, like, oh my God, everything. I mean, it's, yeah. No, but I mean, come on. And for her saying he's a bad father, that's not okay with me. He's like, yeah, he's a good guy.
Yes. At the Beverly Hills reunion, we learned that Kyle almost bought a house across the street from Lisa. And since that dream scenario didn't become a reality for us, we asked Lisa to give us a taste of what we might have been by counting down the top 5 things she would do if Kyle moved across the street from her. Take it away, Lisa.
Okay, first thing, put my house on the market. My doorbell ring would be goodbye, Kyle.
Goodbye, Kyle.
I'd have an electric fence that would sort out that straight hair she's got. I would get my swans or attack swans, hanky and panky would go into gear.
And the number one thing you would do if Kyle moved across the street?
The number one thing that I would do, I think it has to be put my house on the market. Okay.
Person Bravo tweeted, Lisa, is there one thing that you can think of that you regret doing or saying to any cast member over the years on any of your shows?
There's quite a few that, because sometimes I think things are really funny, and when they don't think they're funny,
land in that way.
Then I do regret it, because if it's said in humor or to make light of something that maybe is important, so yes, of course. I mean, anybody that's done, how many, 29,000 minutes they said in Us Magazine this week?
Right.
Of course, you have some regrets.
There's you spent a couple seasons explaining British humor to some people.
Yeah.
Bradley,
because you know what? I was with Ricky Gervais today, and there is a very different sense of humor.
Yes.
A lot of humor that goes down in Britain, we don't give a
By the way, it's when you were on with Gordon Ramsay. That's one of the reasons the show was so fun, because you guys were wild.
He doesn't give a either.
Yes.
2 months with us in London is not for the faint-hearted.
Lisa, I'm wondering what you thought of Garcelle unfollowing the Housewives cast, including her friend Sutton, after the reunion, and she quit.
Oh, good question. I'm pretty close to Garcelle. Listen, Garcelle leaving that show, it was obviously time for her. She was somebody important or, successful before and will be after. But unfollowing them, I think she's not a follower. I think she's a leader. How about
okay.
I'd say from that statement, she's been helping Garcelle on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We're almost done.
What do you think about Sheena saying that she is spilling a lot of tea in her up-and-coming book? And has she given you a heads up of what she will be saying in it?
She said she's spilling a lot of tea about you.
About me?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. Well, that's probably just to sell the book because she hasn't got anything else to say. Do you know what I mean? You know what? I don't know. I've heard she said some nasty things, something nasty recently. She said something like, I only call her when I need something. True that, right? I've got 600 people that work with. I think the last time I needed her was when I invited her to my house to Teddy's birthday. So, yes, that's when I've called her. Yeah.
Okay.
In light of recent revelations, how seriously did you take the Mauricio cheating rumors back when tabloid magazine gate made waves in your friendship with Kyle? Ugh.
Did you take it seriously all those years ago?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I think as a restaurateur, your ear's very close to the ground. Everybody
Right.
likes to talk. Everybody likes to come
Right.
to you. Everybody has a story to tell.
Yes.
But I mean, you know, I just always hope that they had a great marriage. But I don't believe those salacious rumors that were really ugly. You know the ones
Yes.
that I don't.
Were
believe
you
any of those.
surprised by the split? By their split, ultimately?
Saddened by it.
Yeah.
I was saddened because I know how much they valued their relationship,
Yes, yes.
and Kyle was always like talking about the love in their. So yeah, I was saddened by that, but I'm surprised. No, there've been endless kind of rumors.
Okay, so what is she talking about the salacious rumors to do with Mauricio? That was when a trans escort came out saying that she had an affair with Mauricio in a paid transaction, and she wrote a book about it or something, and she swore that was true. That's the salacious rumors Lisa's saying she didn't believe, but the rumors she did believe were that Mauricio was cheating on Kyle, to be clear. Now, this is going to become important soon because I'm going to share with you, in case you don't already know, that Ken allegedly cheated on Lisa. And Kyle has to know that, but hasn't ever pulled that card on Lisa.
Reaction to Jax Taylor opening up about his substance addiction.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's very upsetting, the whole thing, you know, obviously being so supportive of them together as a couple. But I just hope he really takes it seriously, because it's not just about going to rehab, is it? It's about the work that you've got to do afterwards. He's got to distance himself from anybody that's doing that. He's really got to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Based on the crowd gossip tea I got, which is sitting in the chat, Jax Taylor is going to struggle to not party with Jesse Lally around, because I think they used to do coke together. That was their thing. So like I always say, you guys, who doesn't do coke in LA? It's a thing. What can I tell you? He's going to struggle. Thus, the rumor is probably that Jax is not truly sober. Oh, well, we'll have to see how it goes. I hope he is, though. Lisa, of course, has been making all the rounds on different Bravo-oriented shows to promote her show Vanderpump Villa Season 2, which is taking place in Italy. Today, I'm also going to recap episode 3 and 4 because I'm invested, because the Mormon wife lady Demi goes on the show, and she is the one that allegedly had an affair on her husband with the cast member Marciano. And Marciano, it's very interesting how he plays it on the show and how she plays it on the show, knowing that they did hook up and had some sort of, situation happen with all that. As you may recall, last week, I told you that he got booted out of the Hulu celebration for Vanderpump Villa because Demi said, I don't want to be around him because he's a sexual predator. That's what she said. And her cast members that I guess were on the trip disagreed and said, I don't think she's telling the truth. I think she regrets betraying her husband. And they all took to public platforms and said, I think you are trying to backpedal from something you did with Marciano, and you're making him the scapegoat. And because you certainly weren't acting like you weren't into Marciano or you thought he was a sexual predator. So I was curious to see how she behaved on the show, what came out, and that I'm going to be covering today because it's across episode 3 and 4. That this all goes down. All right, well, let's just get right into it, shall we? Remember back on March 18, 2025, TMZ caught Kyle Richards, and she was saying that she was buying a mansion maybe across the street from Lisa Vanderpump. Now, let me read you what TMZ said, because this is really important. Things over time always get shifted. TMZ said, our sources say Kyle's interest in the property had nothing to do with Lisa living in the neighborhood. Instead, we're told she really liked the house. Unfortunately for for Kyle, the house sold to a buyer at the end of February for $6.9 million. And then TMZ went on to say that Lisa and her husband, Ken Todd, had been fixtures in the celebrity enclave since 2011. Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan previously owned the house but sold it for $5.9 million in 2021 following their divorce. And then Lisa Vanderpump shaded Kyle to TMZ. She said, "This house is 10 feet away from me. A shame her offer wasn't accepted because she'd finally be able to move to Beverly Hills." Okay, really shady. To be fair, back when we started the show, Kyle lived in Bel Air, and then she moved to Encino in 2017 to that palatial pad that she got with Mauricio. But I wouldn't have left Bel Air, but that's just me. She must have really loved the house that her and Mauricio got together. What's weird is when TMZ reaches out to Kyle, she denies that she ever made an offer on this property, okay? She said that she backed off it because it was too much of a fire hazard in that area for her. And so she never went forward with it. But then Lisa Vanderpump said that Kyle's rep was a liar and said this.
Because the offer wasn't accepted. I'll show you what she says, but she's not always totally transparent, as we've seen on the show. Okay. No, let's talk about this. Okay. This house is 15 foot from me. Okay, wow. 15 foot. Wow. She went there 4 times, okay, because I heard this. Right. This house used to be Channing Tatum's. Kyle, trying to buy it. Why would you go there 4 times? Right. I mean, why doesn't she just ask to stay in my guest bedroom or something?
You guys may remember, this was way back in 2016. There were rumors that Lisa Vanderpump got a new house for herself. And everyone got really confused by this, right? Because they showed this gorgeous place and it was coming up did she downsize? And it turns out that Lisa Vanderpump didn't downsize, I guess. Instead, she bought a house down the road for her daughter, Pandora. And so the house that she bought was 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 2,600 square feet, and $1.9 million. Now, before you get too warm and fuzzy over that, I want you to know that Lisa Vanderpump's daughter, after this occurs, takes out a mortgage for $1.35 million on that Beverly Hills house. Back in 2024, this was reported by The Sun. Lisa Vanderpump's daughter, Pandora, and her husband, Jason Sabo, have taken out a $1.35 million mortgage on the lavish home her mom bought her for her 30th birthday. The reality TV star surprised her daughter by purchasing the $1.85 million Beverly Hills pad and decorating it for her in 2016. She revealed the couple did have a mortgage at the time, but it is believed Lisa, 63, put down a chunk of the deposit for the house. Property documents seen by the U.S. Sun show they initially borrowed $1,202,500 from Premier America Credit Union. New papers show the deed has since been switched to Pandora and Jason, and they took out a new mortgage in December of 2023 for $1,350,000 with United Wholesale Mortgage, LLC. Pandora, 37, is very involved in her mom's many businesses and is currently a board member of Vanderpump Dogs and runs Vanderpump Wines. She has been married to Jason, 38, since 2011, and they share a son, 2-year-old Teddy. According to online property details, the 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath property was tastefully redesigned inside and out when it was bought in 2016. It has a pool, a spa, blah, blah. Anyway, the point is that it's not like Lisa bought this house outright and gave it to her daughter. Okay, she put a percentage of the house down and decorated it for her, and then Pandora took it over and has put a lot of her own money working for her mom, and Jason also working for her mom's wine company, into it. Now, another thing is that Lisa wasn't always, good with her kids. She didn't help her son Max out with electricity. She was like, Max, if you want to make money and pay your bills, then go work a few, shifts at one of the restaurants and get the money and do it. Why would I pay for you? Kind of thing. Pandora went on to say that Ken got a piano for the house, which meant the world to her. And she did feel that her mom put a lot of, effort into making the house really perfect for her, even though they didn't pay for the whole amount. Pandora was quoted as saying, "They've helped Jason and I start our dream life and our dream home, and we cannot wait to live in it." Well, you can't get in a fight with your mom under those circumstances, or your mother-in-law if you're Jason. Now, Lisa has made a lot of changes to Villa Rosa from the early seasons of Beverly Hills. I didn't even recognize it when I watched Vanderpump Rules. I was like, is that the same house? Anyway, the gossip was that back in the day, Lisa Vanderpump reached out to a bunch of exclusive agents in Beverly Hills and said, listen, if you can find an offer of X price, I'd be willing to sell Villa Rosa. And so she pocket listed the house, but she didn't want it out in the public that she was willing to sell it. So that was something that I heard from several real estate agents just a few years ago. A lot of it was coming out when they were shutting down that bar and having that dispute with the landlord over the rent being too high or whatever that they had. Everybody thought that maybe Lisa had kind of overextended herself with all the business ventures she was doing across multiple areas, including, of course, in Vegas and also that bar in Lake Tahoe. The name of it is Wolf by Vanderpump. It's located at Harvey's Lake Tahoe Hotel and Casino in State Line, Nevada, and it does have an association with Caesar's Palace. So what I really think has happened here is Caesar Palace has partnered with Lisa Vanderpump, allowing her to grow the perception of her brand across multiple different locations, all centered around gambling, which they're kind of funding her, and they're using her name and, you know, her style of doing things in what they're executing. Now, Lisa says she has 700 employees over and over again in shows like Vanderpump Villa, and recently on much of her, you know, tour that she's been doing promoting Vanderpump Villa season 2. And I mean, do I think 700 people are truly reporting into Lisa Vanderpump? Probably not. I think it's probably Caesar's Palace hospitality division that those people work for, but Lisa's, you know, approving everything that's done in the hotel. And obviously anything that impacts her brand, she's going to be front and center on. But I do think at this point she's doing licensing deals, which is really clever because it takes all the risk out of the business. And of course, she is at a very high level going to be approving the style of things, the look of things, you know, how people behave. If something bad happens, she's certainly going to be contacting Caesars and saying, the staff is getting complaints, this is associated with my brand, you got to fix it. But I don't think it's as we're imagining it, like they're doing on Vanderpump Villa, where she's sitting around and like running the whole Caesar's Palace show. So you have to remember that I am friends with Cedric, who was on season 1, living with Lisa Vanderpump. He was villainized in that season, unfairly so, but was. Cedric worked for Lisa Vanderpump and Ken when he was living in the UK, and that's how he met them. And it wasn't Lisa Vanderpump who was running that business. It was Ken's business, and he ran like seedy bars throughout London that made a lot of money. There were a lot of them. They weren't fancy. And then, of course, he makes a lot of money doing that, and he comes to Los Angeles and they buy their house and all of these things, and Cedric ends up coming and staying with them as part of their move to Los Angeles. Lisa Vanderpump wanted to be an actress, and she was certainly very social. People loved her because she's very charismatic. But it was really Ken's business that launched them into the hospitality industry. And then, of course, when they come to LA, Lisa sort of steps in and gets a lot more involved with the branding, which is when she opens up the restaurant that she mentions near Kyle's store, Villa Blanca. And we actually filmed quite a bit in Villa Blanca for Lisa Vanderpump. And she was definitely utilizing it to draw attention to that business. Lisa started Villa Blanca in 2009, and she cast for Housewives around 2010-11 timeframe. Actually, I think it was 2010. So right after she opens Villa Blanca. And that restaurant stays open till July of 2020. And people enjoyed it because it had a patio in the center of Beverly Hills where you could like people watch. And it had kind of a Saint-Tropez vibe, which suits Beverly Hills. Everybody kind of likes that vibe. So that's what she did. But in fact, at this time, I do think Lisa was really excited about promoting this restaurant as part of her image on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She really wanted to establish herself as some sort of Beverly Hills businesswoman. No, it's at this time that although Kyle Richards really likes Lisa Vanderpump, there is a little bit of a rift that kind of exists, at least on Kyle's side, where she feels like she's being super authentic to the show, which, by the way, puts her family in jeopardy because in order for the show to be a success so far, it's involved a lot of the dynamics between Kyle and Kim. And they're like fighting and all their dirty laundry is coming out. Meanwhile, Lisa Vanderpump is not having to offer very much drama to the show. She's getting to be able to show off, you know, her restaurant and her glamorous house. And she's running tea parties and the like. But we're not really seeing any of her dirty laundry coming out on the show. And so in a sense, I guess Kyle starts to get annoyed with this. Also, she gets the sense that Lisa Vanderpump is sort of producing the show. Like there was a scene where Lisa Vanderpump gets like the key to Beverly Hills and I don't know, they shoot the scene and then Lisa asked to redo the scene again. And that really annoyed Kyle, as I recall, because she was sort of like, why are we reshooting a scene about you getting the key to Beverly Hills when this is a reality show and we're supposed to be being real about like your mistakes are your mistakes. And, you know, if you do something great, it shows great. Like, but you have to take the good with the bad. And she started to feel like this is kind of unfair. And meanwhile, the fans of the show love Lisa Vanderpump and she's getting a really great edit. And she's also cuddling up to Alex Baskin, which probably didn't make Kyle feel very good because that was Kyle's original friend that she's working with on putting the show together. So this is where the resentment begins to form between Kyle and Lisa Vanderpump. Another problem is that Lisa won't let anyone come for her because if you come for her, she gives you the feeling like she's going to cut you off and she's never going to shoot with you again. That's it. So she becomes like untouchable in a sense on the show, which isn't fair to the other cast members because they're kind of allowing people to come for them and, you know, fighting back. And then they may look bad in one instance and not another. And it is what it is. But that's what makes the show tick along. And Lisa's not letting that happen for her. Now, Lisa's really intimidating to shoot with and come for. I had to do it in one of my first scenes. It was really, really challenging because she is quite elegant and she was much older than the rest of us. And I don't mean that in a shady way, but she was. So it was like difficult to come at her like you would a peer and drag her when she is so polite and, you know, respectful and sort of older. And it just was weird, right? And a lot of the cast members struggled with this. And Kyle really wanted someone to come for Lisa on the show. And in fact, she and Taylor were one of the people to put me up to try to like come for Lisa about Taylor's weight. They were like, maybe you could attack Lisa on the basis that, you know, she keeps saying Taylor's underweight and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, how do I do that if I wasn't even around for when she said it? Plus, I'm thinking this is a show about friendship, which is the way it was pitched to me. And I'm going, well, why do I have to come for anyone out of the gate? Like, it's so weird. And actually, I have two fights with Lisa. One, that first scene night that's really cringe where I'm like, we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends. And that's because I'm basically trying to establish some sort of friendship with Lisa to then be able to come for her. I kind of felt like I had to, because otherwise, why would I bother? It just wasn't in sync with my real personality at all. And I was trying to be authentic. So I'm like, okay, well, if we were friends and she said something that annoyed me about Taylor, I would say something. But since I don't know her at all, it's really bizarre. So I was like trying to become friends with Lisa in like 5 minutes so I could actually come for her about Taylor's weight and be somewhat authentic to who I really was. But unfortunately, I didn't know that, you know, Housewives isn't necessarily real. You can just bullshit. I didn't know that. So anyway, we end up getting in a fight that night. And actually we go to the back patio at the end of the fight and we resolve it. But it wasn't explosive enough to really show. So they cut it, right? Because it was awkward. Because let's face it, I would never come for someone I just met 2 seconds ago about my friend's weight. You know, it's just not real. So I did my best to kind of bullshit it along and it didn't come out that great, I guess. So they cut it from the show. And then later, there was an explosive scene at the reunion where I came for Lisa Vanderpump for her and Ken calling me fat behind my back or chubby and saying to her, like, that's really BS for you guys to say. It's like kind of shitty to say that about me, especially when I'm not chubby. And second of all, I said, you know, her butt got stuck in a patio in one of the scenes. You know, why is she feeling like that doesn't make her chubby since her ass was too big to get through the crack? And that was a whole scene. We went at it. And she wasn't happy with the scene, I think, because it wasn't something she wanted to have come out, the body shaming. And I don't know, maybe they chose to cut it out of the reunion because they didn't want Lisa to look bad. She was too important to, you know, keep looking perfect. And now, had I continued on the show, that would have really made me resent her because of that. Which, as you guys know, I do that scene in season 3 where it's called the train wreck scene, and I meet up with Taylor and I'm making fun of Lisa giving a blowjob to Ken, and nobody could understand where all that came from. Well, there it is, right? Why does she get to get away with that and I don't get to say my piece on it? Well, that's what I think happened to Kyle. A few of those instances, which the fans don't know about, where you really feel like, okay, this is kind of bullshit now, and it makes you pissed. And I think that's what happened with Kyle and Lisa. Now, for Lisa, it was different. It was that Kyle...
For the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month, and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about, and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?